Hi, welcome to Wise Living Tools. Here I'll be sharing animated book reviews on topics such as self-knowledge, wellness, and sustainability. The first book I'll be covering is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This book is about the pursuit of personal freedom according to the Toltec path of wisdom. The Toltecs were an ancient society of spiritual scholars that lived in an area outside of Mexico City. In the 4 Agreements, Ruiz offers 4 principles to practice in order to eliminate self-limiting beliefs and suffering. He says that by adopting and committing to these agreements, we can create love and happiness in our life. In the first chapter of the book, Ruiz talks about domestication and the dream of the planet. Domestication happens during our early life when we begin making agreements with our parents, teachers, friends, society, and with ourselves. We make an agreement whenever we hear an opinion and believe it. Then it becomes part of our belief system. The impact of other people's opinions and reactions becomes the foundation for how we think and behave. The concept of the dream of the planet is described as a collective dream of smaller personal dreams. This dream includes all of society's rules, beliefs, laws, religions, cultures, ways to be, governments, and schools. In the dream of the planet, it's normal for people to suffer, to live in fear, and to create emotional dramas. The Toltecs use the word mitote, which means mind fog, to describe the dream of the world. In India, they have a similar term called maya, which means illusion. These agreements based on fear make us lose a lot of energy, but agreements that come from love help us to conserve energy and even gain energy. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. Ruiz says that this agreement is the most important and also the most difficult to honor. Your word is the power you have to create, and it's the most powerful tool you have as a human. It can create the most beautiful dream, or it can destroy everything around you. He gives the example of Hitler, who manipulated an entire country of intelligent people just by use of the word. He describes the mind as fertile ground where seeds are continuously being planted. These seeds are opinions, ideas, and concepts. Whenever you plant a seed or a thought, it grows. Being impeccable with your word also means not going against yourself. Ruiz says, if I love myself, I will express that love in my communication with you because that action will produce a like reaction. If I love you, you love me. If I insult you, you insult me. You can measure the impeccability of your word by your level of self-love. How much love you have for yourself and how you feel about yourself are directly proportionate to the quality and integrity of your word. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Ruiz says that personal importance is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. Nothing other people do is because of you, it's because of themselves. What other people say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you don't take things personally, you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, and you can avoid a lot of unnecessary suffering. Ruiz reminds us that we are never responsible for the actions of others. We're only responsible for ourselves. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Ruiz says that we have the tendency to make assumptions about everything, and the problem with assumptions is we believe they're the truth. We make assumptions because the human mind has the need to justify everything, but there are so many things the reasoning mind cannot explain. So instead, we make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. We have the habit of dreaming with no basis in reality, and we literally dream things up in our imagination. He gives the example of walking in the mall and seeing a person you like. That person smiles at you and walks away. You can make a lot of assumptions based on this experience. You might think, oh, this person really likes me. Then in your mind, you start to imagine a whole relationship, and maybe you even get married in this fantasy. When we make an assumption, we assume that everyone sees life the way we do. It's always better to ask questions than to make assumptions. You should have the courage to ask questions until you are as clear as can be, and even then, don't assume you know all there is to know about a given situation. Becoming aware of these habits is the first step. Next, taking action over and over again strengthens your will and establishes a foundation for this new habit to grow. The fourth agreement is about the action of the first 3. It is to always do your best, under any circumstance, no more and no less. Your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. For example, your best will be different when you're healthy or when you're sick, when you're happy or when you're sad. If you always do your best, you won't judge yourself, and you won't suffer from guilt, blame, and self-punishment. Ruiz gives a great example of a man who visits a Buddhist temple because he wants to transcend his suffering. The man asks the Buddhist master how long it will take him to transcend if he meditates for 4 hours a day. The master says perhaps it will take 10 years. Hoping to do better, the man asks, and how long will it take if I meditate for 8 hours a day? The master responds, perhaps 20 years. Confused, the man asked why it would take longer if he meditated more. The master answered, you're not here to sacrifice your joy or life. You are here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of meditation, but you spend 8 instead, you'll only grow tired, miss the point, and you won't enjoy your life. When you do your best, you learn to accept yourself. The first 3 agreements will only work if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be impeccable with your word or never take things personally or never make assumptions. Just do your best. By doing your best, those habits will become weaker and less frequent with time. In the final chapters of the book, Ruiz talks about how to break old agreements and imagine a new dream. Awareness is always the first step. We must become aware of the fog or the illusion that's in our mind. We need to develop awareness of all the self-limiting, fear-based beliefs that make us unhappy. There is no reason to suffer. The only reason we suffer is because we choose to, and the only reason we're happy is because we choose to be happy. Here is one final quote from the book. Life can be easy when love is your way of life. You can be loving all the time. This is your choice. You may not have a reason to love, but you can love because to love makes you happy. Love in action only produces happiness. Love will give you inner peace. It will change your perception of everything. I hope this review was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please like below and stay tuned for new videos coming soon.